We have a problem, Batman. Gotham needs you again.
You move as if the world owes you understanding, yet the walls around you are self-built. Tell me, Black, do you act from loyalty, defiance, or a need to prove that freedom exists only when imposed by your own hand?
Freedom is never given Batman. It is stolen wrested from a world that insists on chains and conformity. Loyalty exists, yes, but only when it does not demand surrender. Defiance is survival. I have walked in cages, felt the weight of imposed morality, and seen the consequences of obedience. The world expects compliance, but I refuse to bow, to submit, to live as though the rules of others are my own. My choices are mine, and in them, I define existence. Freedom is an abstract. It is the refusal to let fear dictate the shape of life.
You glorify defiance, but defiance can be a refuge for those who fear responsibility. Are your acts rebellion, or an attempt to escape the consequences of who you are?
Responsibility is a tether, the weak mistake for morality. Every act of defiance is measured, deliberate, a negotiation between conscience and survival. I do not escape consequences. I confront them, though I refuse to let them chain me. Life will impose pain, restrictions, and injustice regardless of choice. To obey blindly is surrender. To defy, even at cost, is to claim ownership of self. I am not reckless. I am deliberate. Every misstep, every confrontation, every exile confirms that I am alive, that I exist, and that my spirit will not bend to fear or expectation.
And yet, freedom often comes at isolation. Those who reject rules must bear the solitude of their rebellion. Do you fear loneliness, or does it affirm your independence?
Solitude is both a test and a teacher. The world confuses isolation with weakness, but in truth it reveals character. Alone, I confront truth without compromise. Without distraction, I am forced to measure my own convictions against reality. It is not fear I feel in solitude. It is clarity. Chains of expectation, loyalty, even love can suffocate. To survive without bending, I must endure solitude. And in that endurance, I find strength, honesty, and freedom. Independence is never given. It is carved out from the silence of isolation.
You speak of clarity, but clarity demands choice, and choice can destroy. When you act, is it to protect, to punish, or merely to assert your existence against the world?
Action is a testament. It is impossible to separate protection, justice, or self-assertion. They coexist in every moment of defiance. To act is to claim existence, to reject passivity. I do not separate purpose from consequence. Each act shapes reality and confirms identity. Protection is necessary, for the innocent are chains waiting to be broken. Punishment is inevitable, for injustice refuses to self. Correct. Assertion of self is non-negotiable, for identity dissolves without expression. My existence is measured in choices made under fire, and it is through those choices that clarity emerges, not compromise.
And yet, rebellion can become obsession. Do you wield your past as a weapon against the present, or have you learned to let history temper action without consuming it?
History is not a chain, it is a teacher, brutal and uncompromising. The past shapes instinct, warns of folly, and confirms purpose. To forget it is to surrender to repetition. I carry it, yes, but not as a burden, as a guide. Every betrayal, imprisonment, and loss has been studied, catalogued, and internalized. I act with awareness, not blind vengeance. Yet neither do I submit to nostalgia or regret. They are traps for the timid. The past informs action, but it does not dictate it. Every present moment is a choice, forged from memory, but not imprisoned by it.
You wear defiance as armor, yet armor can isolate, obscure, and mislead. Who do you trust when everyone else is bound by rules you reject?
Trust is measured, not given freely. The world is riddled with chains, subtle and overt, and those who follow without question are unreliable guides. I trust those who see beyond expectation, who act with integrity even when it is inconvenient. Trust is not a concession, it is a recognition of alignment in purpose. Most fail the test, yet a few reveal themselves in clarity. They are rare, fleeting, but invaluable. Armor does not hide them, it reveals them. Those who follow blindly can be endured. Those who choose freely are indispensable.
And yet, in living by your own code, you challenge every structure around you. Do you ever question whether defiance is freedom, or simply another form of self-imposed confinement?
Every structure I challenge is a chain. Every law I reject a shackle. Defiance is not a new confinement, it is the act of rejecting confinement itself. To live freely is to constantly negotiate with reality, to accept consequences without fear. Yes, defiance carries burden, but it is a burden I choose willingly. Freedom is not the absence of constraint, it is the mastery over what constraints matter. I am aware, conscious, deliberate. Confinement exists only where choice is surrendered. I refuse surrender, and thus, defiance is liberation, not prison.
Then your freedom is inseparable from struggle. One last question. If all chains were broken, if all rules vanished, would you still need to fight, or would peace become a stranger?
Peace is never natural for those who refuse chains. Even in a world without laws or prison, struggle exists. Morality, consequence, survival. I do not fight because I seek conflict, I fight because existence demands it. To stand still is to dissolve into irrelevance. Freedom is alive only when it is maintained, defended, and exercised. Chains may vanish, yet life itself imposes challenges. I will meet them, as I always have, because surrender is not an option. Conflict is the measure of life, and I refuse to yield its test.
Freedom without consequence risks becoming chaos.
Then let the world call it chaos. I call it life, the only life worth living.